What's good? It's your boy Fanon. All right. Bob Arum on the full attack on Eddie Hearn says that Eddie Hearn has been using Anthony Joshua, and then Anthony Joshua needs to let his deal run out with Arum and sign with ESPN. Boy. Talk about just piling on. Now, let me give you your thoughts on that, because for the most part, man, I think that he's half right about that. And I definitely think that he's right about Eddie Hearn using Anthony Joshua, or at the very least making some just mind-boggling decisions relative to Anthony Joshua. But I'll cover that in a second. Before I do, though, I want to welcome you back to the channel, subscribers. If you're not subscribed, hit the subscription button and then hit the bell icon. And then you will be notified of when we release more videos. Also, check out the live streams that we do every Monday through Friday. Start time between 10:30 and 10:45 a.m. Central Standard Time. Also, for the longtime subscribers and avid subscribers, please check out the Patreon. We got a really good stuff up there. Gave you my take on that Jesse Smollett thing that just happened. But anyway, alrighty. So let me tell you what Bob Arum said, and then I'm going to give you my thoughts on it. Bob Arum, of course, we know is in press conferences and things leading up to this Terrence Crawford Amir Khan fight, and which is funny because Amir Khan, I do believe, is promoted by Bob Arum. But this is what he says about Bob Arum. This is what he says about the deal between Anthony Joshua and DAZN. He says Joshua is completely isolated because he has, in effect, been captured and rolled into this DAZN arrangement. This frankly inhibits his ability to make major fights and his ability to really become a factor. He's fighting in the US against Miller, but it's on DAZN. Nobody has DAZN. I think Joshua has been used. Joshua and his people should wake up and really join the world. He should finish up his contract with Hearns and join us. It makes no sense to continue placing his fights on DAZN. It makes no sense to deprive him of pay-per-view. If he fights in the UK, he can't turn into pay-per-view dollars in the United States because of the difference in time. So I've been saying, and I think a lot of people have been saying, that the first sign that Eddie Hearn was really giving some very self-serving advice to Anthony Joshua is when they turned down that $50 million offer for Deontay Wilder. But before I get into that, though, man, let's look back at where Anthony Joshua was in May of 2017. Coming off his win against Vladimir Klitschko, he was probably the the fastest rising young star in boxing. He had a great persona. I mean, a lot of people thought very highly of him. Even the people who are very, very critical of Anthony Joshua, back in May and June of 2017, very few people had that impression of him. But Eddie Hearn immediately started acting as if Anthony Joshua had made it to the top of the world and that everybody else was chasing him. And, I'm not going to go in on the whole Deontay Wilder fight saga, but I knew from the minute that I heard Eddie Hearn talk on IFL TV was 5 days after the Joshua Klitschko fight, where he said he had an 8 to 10 year plan, and he laid out this plan with the fighters that he wanted to face, and it didn't include Deontay Wilder, right? And Deontay Wilder was a WBC champion. He wanted Dillian White to fight Anthony Joshua. He wanted Dillian White to fight Deontay Wilder, and then have Dillian White and Anthony Joshua meet for the unification of the heavyweight division. And I thought to myself, okay, this is what it's going to turn into. It's going to turn into a milking of the belts and a just a corporate build of Anthony Joshua. So we go on, right? Bunch of arguments happening. We've all been there. We all remember what they were. No need to go through all of it. But eventually, like we said back then, I definitely said back then, eventually Anthony Joshua was going to want to come to the United States because that's where the money is. Whole bunch of Anthony Joshua fans saying, no, that's not where the money is. The money's not in the United States. Lo and behold, Anthony Joshua comes to the United States like we knew he would, because that's where the big pay-per-view money is. It's $75 per pay-per-view, not $25, $75. He would have to sell he has to sell 3 pay-per-views in the UK for every one in the United States. And there's a much bigger pool of potential pay-per-view buyers in the United States. All he had to do was come over and fight Deontay Wilder and beat him. And then the world was his. It was simple. And that should have happened right after he won against Joseph Parker. It was there to be had. He wouldn't have to worry about being on the zone, stuck away on a channel that nobody wanted. But I won't say nobody wants, but that nobody has. And now you're in a situation where, because of all this stuff going on with Deontay Wilder and the fact that Anthony Joshua's name has just been completely synonymous with ducking. Now not only is his name synonymous in the United States with ducking or the question of ducking, even if some people in the United States, and I haven't heard many of them, other than a couple loudmouth cats with a YouTube channel trying to sucker UK viewers into watching their channel, I haven't heard anybody thinking that Anthony Joshua was getting ducked by Deontay Wilder. What I've heard is people making Anthony Joshua's name synonymous with ducking. But now he's on DAZN and a channel that nobody has, and he's getting paid big money to do it. But he's not getting or developing a fan base by taking that fight. His fan base is Skipper, whatever Skipper's the president of DAZN. Do you think is it John Skipper? John Skipper is his established fan base. One guy through his organization deciding to pay Anthony Joshua a lot of money. That's not growing the fan base. That's not going to increase. It's not going to increase his name. It's not going to create any momentum. And if anything, the whole fighting with DAZN has killed his momentum. He was on Showtime, fighting on Showtime. His fights on Showtime were gradually doing better. He had a really big fight on Showtime and HBO with Vladimir Klitschko and Anthony Joshua. Vladimir Klitschko and Anthony Joshua on both Showtime and HBO. And his stock was really rising in the United States. But then enter Eddie Hearn and his foolishness. And it completely hit the brakes. Now you have him looking like having promoters like Bob Arum seeing blood in the water. He sees blood in the water. DAZN just doubled the price. Now, my take on DAZN doubling the price was that it's going to probably make them more money, because if they get the same amount of subscribers, then they're going to double their revenue. But it more than likely is just throwing sandbags in front of the flood, because it just doesn't look like there's any excitement around DAZN at all. I don't even know anybody that has DAZN. One of these days, I'm going to walk out with a videotape and just walk around and say, hey, does anybody know what DAZN is? And I bet you that people will start thinking that they're like Korean pop bands and things like that. So I should do that one day. But anyway, man, to have Bob Arum jump out there and say, you need to get rid of Eddie Hearn, that is just a big strike across the bow, man. Sign with Top Rank so we can get you on US pay-per-view, and you can really grow your profile. You can really start making your money, man, making big money. Because, a lot of people don't believe the numbers that have been thrown out by Eddie Hearn anyway, because, it's Eddie Hearn. So I'm not sure why anybody would take what he says on face value. But, we'll see what's going on, man. We got a fight with Dillian White versus Anthony Joshua coming up in a couple months. There's not a lot of buzz about it. And regardless, even if you start seeing a lot of promotion for it, it's not going to be seen by a lot of people. Anthony Joshua's pocketbook will wind up being big, but, he's not going to grow his fan base in the United States. You got Deontay Wilder being named by ESPN, 29 spots ahead of Anthony Joshua in the world, in the famous athlete list. So anyway, we'll see how it turns out. But I thought that was funny that Bob Arum said that with that amount. Peace.